Imagine a world where the secrets of the universe are locked away in 13 crystal skulls. According to an ancient Native American legend, these skulls are real and contain wisdom that could change the fate of humanity. In Melanesia, Oceania, there are tribal legends about twins and a powerful spirit in a crystal skull. According to their mythology, their tribe was founded by a white man and a black man who are twins. Melanesia is home to various classifications of spirits, including ancestral spirits that relate to a particular group's creation story or recently deceased ancestors. The concept of spiritual energy is not limited to people, but also extends to places, objects, plants, and animals. The idea is widespread throughout the South Pacific, where anthropologists refer to the supernatural force as mana. The people in Melanesia hold objects with ancestral spirit energy in high regard and believe that they possess magical power. According to some, the power comes from ancestral sources, and the older the ancestors, the greater the power. These objects are incredibly important to the people in all aspects of life, such as warfare, hunting, gardening, fishing, and other activities beyond human control. It is believed that if these objects are accessed correctly and permission is sought, they can pre-kill an enemy before a battle. Some crystal skulls are known to be used for divination, whereby someone contacts an intelligence that is resident within the crystal skull. Can objects like crystal skulls indeed be possessed by otherworldly spirits, as South Pacific Islanders believe?
What do the indigenous people say? They say they found them?
The Navajo say they came from the Star Children, that they were brought down and deposited and given to them.
In 60 AD, Roman soldiers conquered the last strongholds of the druids, a group of mystics and priests who had been around since the dawn of European civilization. Despite the fact that most of what we know about the druids comes from their enemies, the Romans, it is clear that the druids were important leaders and social organizers for the Celtic tribes. The druids were believed to have many powers, including the ability to hold mystical knowledge, a philosophy of reincarnation, and the use of crystal for telling fortunes and performing ecstatic mystical rituals. The Scottish Highlanders refer to these crystals as stones of power. Crystal balls, which were used by seers in more recent times, allowed individuals to slip into a trance state to access information from the gods or spirits. There are theories that ancient cultures accessed other dimensions through crystal objects, and the crystal's unique lattice structure is believed by some to have an other-dimensional quality. The great inventor and scientist Nikola Tesla himself talks about crystals, saying that, in a crystal we have clear evidence of the existence of a formative life principle, and though we cannot understand the life of a crystal, it is nonetheless a living being. Crystal's ability to communicate interdimensionally could explain why people have used crystal balls throughout history to predict the future or look into the past. It is intriguing to consider that ancient people were aware of the importance of crystals and their high-tech qualities. Some speculate that these high-tech objects may have been used by ancient people or brought to us by extraterrestrials, allowing them for interdimensional communications and assistance. But could this extraordinary power also be used for more sinister purposes? Tibet is known as one of the most ancient and wise cultures of our world. In March 1959, as the Chinese invaded Lhasa and numerous attempts by Tibetans were made to flee the landlocked country through the high mountain peaks of the Himalayas, a life-threatening route full of perils from the forces of nature and risks of punishment from communist China. The Dalai Lama himself and a small group of High Lamas fled into the treacherous Himalayan mountains, risking imprisonment, torture, and even death to make the 14-day trek to Nepal. According to reports, they hand-carried with them a 22-pound crystal skull named Amar. Amar is one of the largest known old crystal skulls at 22 pounds and is made of clear quartz with a slight smoky tint. Tibetan quartz is believed to facilitate access to the Akashic record, and the Tibetan Buddhist monks use this crystal skull for healing and divination. But why did these Tibetan monks risk their lives just to hide and protect crystal skulls from the Chinese?
Some people say it would have to be made in zero gravity or something to be able to make crystal this way. Now, that's just another one of the mysteries that comes to the skull.
Could there be a dangerous component to the Amar skull and other crystal skulls, especially if they were to fall into the wrong hands? The building of a crystal human skull could serve as an antenna for the consciousness of a highly adept mediator to focus their mind for the purposes of healing or destruction. Probably this is the reason why the Tibetan monks risked their lives to such great lengths to protect the object. In March 2011, a 20-pound crystal skull was found at the former home of a high-ranking Nazi SS officer in Bavaria, Germany. It is believed that the skull belonged to Heinrich Himmler, the notorious Nazi leader responsible for overseeing the extermination of millions of people during World War II. The Nazis were known to be obsessed with ancient and extraterrestrial knowledge, including the power of crystal skulls, and believed that possessing them would grant them incredible powers. Hitler himself was a strong believer in the occult and led numerous expeditions around the world in an attempt to possess all such relics and artifacts, hoping to use their powers to turn the tide of the war in the Nazis' favor. It's possible that Himmler acquired the crystal skull to direct its power against those who opposed the Third Reich. The legend surrounding crystal skulls suggests that they have the ability to transform the intention of a human being, making them a powerful weapon that can be used for good or evil. So, the question remains whether Himmler used it to exert his will over others. But why are these mysterious objects in the shape of a skull? The skull shape, fashioned in the exact form of a human cranium, may hold an energetic quality and represent the eminence of the soul upon death. In Tibetan Buddhism, the skull symbolizes the transcendence of death and the impermanence of life. The combination of the clear crystal and dark skull motif represents a holistic bridging of light and dark, and some theories suggest that the power of these objects may have been lost to mankind for centuries, hidden away by a mythical lost civilization such as Atlantis. Atlantis was a mighty civilization, believed to have existed from approximately 300,000 to 12,000 years ago. In the 4th century BC, the Greek philosopher Plato described Atlantis as an advanced island founded by Poseidon, the god of the sea. Atlantis was a model of ethical, philosophical, and moral civilization, as well as being technologically advanced. For the technology of the Atlanteans, we get information from Edgar Cayce, also called the Sleeping Prophet, who is known for his accurate psychic readings. According to him, Atlanteans had great crystals that condensed light in a particular way and sent energy out to outlying home devices, as well as to ships or vehicles moving in the air, the water, and even in the earth. Their technology was not limited to transport crafts, but also included photography at a distance, reading inscriptions through walls at a distance, overcoming gravity, and so on. Other sources mention that the Atlanteans also had vehicles with which they could travel into outer space. These vehicles seem not to have been made by the Atlanteans themselves, but by extraterrestrials with whom the Atlanteans had connections. Atlanteans used crystal objects as a means of harnessing energy and storing important information, including skulls. The priests of Atlantis are said to have deposited ancient relics and sacred knowledge into crystal objects, possibly including the skulls. We know that there were 12 tribes in Atlantis. Could it be that each one of them carried a crystal skull? According to the legend, Atlantis disappeared thousands of years ago, sinking into what is now known as the Atlantic Ocean. But if it existed, it is possible that some of its citizens survived, possibly with crystal skulls among their possessions. The Mayans and modern-day Tibetans are said to have links to this lost civilization, with crystal skulls being found in both regions. The importance of these skulls to the Atlanteans is unclear, and if some Atlanteans did survive, it is possible that they carried the crystal skulls to North and South America and Asia. Can the crystal skulls really hold vast amounts of information? In 2012, the Japanese engineering and electronics company Hitachi announced a revolutionary data storage device, a quartz glass chip that could preserve encoded information for millions of years. By encoding data into quartz crystal materials using high-powered lasers, the ones and zeros could be read with a microscope. Although the chip can be read a million years from now, the problem is accessing the information, since you need a reading or decoding device. The crystal skulls are a good example of the problem. Although they might contain knowledge, we don't know how to access and use it. We know that quartz can hold power and absorb energy, which suggests that it might have been used for recording or communication devices. Crystal radios, television sets, and other communication types, even power for spaceships, can be done through quartz crystals. In that way, the idea of quartz crystal technology being used by extraterrestrials as high-tech technology makes a lot of sense. Although we might not be able to extract the information, we should still try to make an effort to see what kind of information might be present within these crystal skulls. Could they be data-gathering devices used for both recording and transmitting information? One example is Einstein, the largest ancient crystal skull discovered, weighing 33 pounds or 15 kilograms. It is believed to be a master computer that records everything like a live feed 24/7, and might have been recording history on this planet since the beginning of time. Einstein came to its present guardian, Carolyn Ford, in 1989 from the estate of an explorer-adventurer who brought back the crystal skull from Mexico in the 20s as part of his collection of rare artifacts, claiming that it is an artifact from the lost civilization of Atlantis. The skull has been tested for unusual energy pulses or auras, and the resulting aura photograph showed strong warrior-type protective energy over the skull and blue colors representing wisdom and knowledge, therefore concluding that the skull has consciousness and energy around it, which indicates that it could be a recording device or an extraterrestrial object used to harness energy and information. The power of the 13 legendary crystal skulls remains a mystery until all of them are discovered. What will happen when they are found and put together? According to most legends, these skulls are extraterrestrial, and when reunited, they will create a new epoch for the planet Earth. Some Native American tribes believe that in times of desperation, the crystal skulls will come together and share their wisdom to help humanity survive. The skulls will reveal the lesson that we are all connected. The search for the crystal skulls may unravel the truth about ancient human origins and the sacredness of the human form. The question remains, will these skulls reunite and harness powerful forces